Dear Reverend Father, Reverend Sisters, and all my dear friends. On December 8th, 2020, Pope Francis proclaimed the year 2021 as the year of Saint Joseph. He described Saint Joseph as a beloved, tender, and obedient father. As we all know, Saint Joseph is the patron saint of the Universal Church, of immigrants, of fathers, of families, and of workers. I would like to take this opportunity to reflect on the values that Saint Joseph gave us, and in particular, the manner in which he followed the will of God. The scriptures do not talk much about Saint Joseph in much detail. Nevertheless, from the little we read about him, there are actually a lot of learnings which are relevant for all times. So let's start with some of the key values that we can learn from Saint Joseph. Firstly, Joseph was a righteous man. When he realized that Mary, who he was to marry, became pregnant, he wanted to quietly call off the union in order to protect the honor of Mary. However, with the intervention of the angel of God, Joseph had the power and the determination to protect Mary and take care of her. Further, from St. Mark chapter 8, it can be believed that when Jesus tried to protect the woman who committed adultery, in his mind he would have thought of Joseph, who valiantly stood strong for his wife Mary, despite potentially being suspected of illegitimacy. So Joseph was a just man to the positive extreme of being selflessly just, devoting his entire life for the well-being of others. His kind soul is remembered every year on March the 19th. Secondly, Joseph was a strong-willed and protective father. He had to deal with several crises during his life. The first one being during Mary's pregnancy. According to Luke chapter 2, verses 1 to 5, Emperor Augustus Caesar decreed that a census be taken for all of the Roman Empire. Now Joseph, being a very good citizen, decided to travel all the way from Nazareth to Bethlehem, the town of his ancestor David, along with Mary, and he got them registered, despite Mary being pregnant. But problems did not quite end there. After the birth of Jesus, King Herod placed a target on the head of little Jesus. And so Joseph had to escape and flee all the way to faraway Egypt. This took immense courage and hard work. Third, Joseph was a carpenter by profession. While most references of Joseph are during Jesus' childhood, there is one mention of Joseph's profession during Jesus' public ministry as well. This we can see in Mark chapter 6 verse 3, when Jesus is referred to as the carpenter, owing to his relationship with Joseph. And Jesus carried that title with honor. So it can be believed that Jesus also learned several values from Joseph owing to his vocation. Patience, for waiting until the wood is dry and ready. Good judgment, for ensuring that the edges are perfectly straight. Persistence, for sanding the tabletops until it is smooth. And finally, integrity, in making the work perfect for its purpose. A good carpenter brings life and character to the dead wood when he makes a useful piece of furniture. Legend has it, when Saint Joseph held a piece of dry twig in his hand, it blossomed into flowers and leaves. This is depicted in paintings of Saint Joseph even today. His workmanship is aptly remembered every year on Labor Day on May the 1st. Now that we are able to uncover some of the values that Saint Joseph exhibited, what did Saint Joseph do that makes him stand apart from other saints? What did he do differently? Indeed, it is actually what he did and the manner in which he did it that makes him special. Joseph was a silent practitioner of the will of God. He worked behind the scenes, not in front of large gatherings. He obediently took directions from heaven within the constraints and limitations on earth. During these trying times of COVID-19, we must remember other such dutiful servants too. Healthcare workers who are making immense sacrifices behind the scenes. The public works, maintenance people, law enforcement personnel, none of whom can work from home. Saint Joseph proved that one can be a missionary without uttering a single word. That one of the most powerful ways of preaching the gospel is by living the gospel. And quite often, that journey starts right at home, within our own family. The mystique of Joseph's life can also speak to those who are overwhelmed by all this sadness and pain during the pandemic. So much so that we may even question whether God sees. Appearing only briefly in the Gospels, given no words at all to speak, Joseph led a life of quiet service to God. A life that remains almost totally unknown to us, and yet filled with countless hidden, unrecorded acts of love. It was a life that gave us infinite value. Now, although most picturizations of Saint Joseph is as an old man, it is quite possible that Joseph was an energetic and youthful man, a man whom we as MCYM members should aspire to follow. To conclude, we as MCYM should imbibe all of Saint Joseph's values. Values of righteousness, strong will, hard work, and silent preaching. Joseph was a youthful protector of the family and a loving father, in whom Jesus would have seen the image of God the Father. Saint Joseph, patron saint of the Universal Church, pray for us. Thank you.